save you here, but I don't think you've been honest with this committee, because I've read your writings.
Senator Klobuchar, Senator Kennedy.
Judge Lee, I don't believe you were truthful in answering Senator Lee's questions. You wrote an article in 2010 entitled An Overview of Special Populations in California Prisons, did you not?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And in that article, you argued that male prisoners should be allowed to claim they are transgender in order to be assigned to a female prison, didn't you?
As I said to Senator Lee, that was an article which arose from a symposium, which I just moderated the panel, and then summarized for the symposium edition the different arguments and issues that were raised.
Well, I've read your article, and I don't think that's accurate. You identify certain special populations, transgender people, immigrants, and racial minorities. And you're very critical of the way the California prison system treats them. For example, I'm going to quote here, your words, not mine. The prison system relies heavily on a dichotomous sex-based means of classification. Prisoners are classified by their biological attributes rather than their gender identification. As described by one of the people in the California prison system, the classification process is gender neutral. We really don't distinguish between transgender and non-transgender inmates. Did I read that correctly?
Senator, I don't recall it word by word, but
There it is.
So. Okay.
And at the end, here's your conclusion. Your words, not mine. In conclusion, because each of these populations, including transgender, traditionally has been marginalized by American society based on their gender, race, ethnicity, or status, they are often further distanced from and marginalized by society upon incarceration. A recent president said you can fairly judge the character of a society by how it treats the weak, the vulnerable, the most easily forgotten. Did you say that?
That's what was written.
Okay. And so, but you're saying your article is just a summary of the opinions of people that you moderated?
I moderated a panel. There were 3 panelists about those different topics. That's what was represented in terms of the issues. And
well, let me just ask you, do you think that a male prisoner convicted in a court of law on a final judgment should be allowed to claim that he is transgender in order to be assigned to a female prison?
Senator, as discussed earlier, the issue of assignment in facilities and such is one which is being actively litigated in California and may become before me. If I were to be
now all of a
confirmed,
sudden you can't answer it. You answered it in your law review article.
Senator,
you were for it. But now you can't answer it? Is that your testimony?
My testimony is that was an article from over 13 years ago, and that as a judge now, and as I have been for nearly the last 5 years, my responsibilities are to fully, faithfully, and
the truth is, you believe that a male prisoner should be able to allow at the sentencing phase to claim that he is transgender in order to be assigned to a female prison. Now, you believe that, don't you?
Senator.
You wrote it.
Again, that was a piece which summarized and came out of a symposium edition about the California prison crisis generally.
You found it at Georgetown, the Georgetown Journal of Gender and Sexuality Law Journal, did you not?
At Georgetown, I was one of the founding members. I didn't, of the.
Did you found it? Did you help found it?
I was one of the initial founding group members.
All right, and one of the first articles was entitled, that you picked was entitled, quote, "The Politics of Eradication and Future of LGBT Rights." And in that article, you accused Republicans, or the article you chose accused Republicans of being influenced by, quote, "a desire to eradicate LGBT identities." Is that accurate?
Senator, I was an articles editor in the first edition.
You don't remember
was
that
never-
article?
I do not recall. I do not know whether or not I edited that.
Okay, well, here's
article.
another article you picked. Quote, here's the title of the article that you picked for your journal. "Gender is Fake. The Ongoing Need for an Equal Rights Amendment." And the article says, quote, "The need for the ERA is more pressing now than ever, given modern conceptions of gender as a social construct." Did I read that right?
Senator, I don't, as I said, I was an articles editor who
Look,
edited. a
Senator
couple
Durbin may
articles.
save you here, but I don't think you've been honest with this committee, because I've read your writings.
A Senate confirmation hearing took a dramatic turn when Senator John Kennedy confronted a judicial nominee over articles she wrote before joining the bench. Kennedy questioned whether the nominee was being fully candid about her past views on transgender prison policies, gender identity, and academic publications. As the exchange intensified, the senator accused the nominee of avoiding direct answers. Here's what happened. Kennedy began by referencing a 2010 article the nominee wrote about California's prison system. He argued that the article supported allowing biological male inmates who identify as transgender to be housed in women's prisons. The nominee responded that the publication summarized discussions from a legal symposium she had moderated and was not intended to present her personal opinions. Kennedy disagreed. Reading directly from the article, he pointed to passages discussing prison classifications based on biological sex and argued that the conclusions reflected the nominee's own views rather than a neutral summary. The questioning intensified when Kennedy asked whether a biological male convicted of a crime should be allowed to identify as transgender in order to be placed in a women's correctional facility. The nominee declined to answer directly, explaining that similar issues are currently being litigated and could eventually come before her if confirmed. Kennedy wasn't satisfied. He argued that the nominee had expressed opinions on the issue years earlier but was now refusing to say whether she still agreed with those positions. The nominee replied that, as a sitting judge, her responsibility is to faithfully apply the law rather than comment on matters that could come before the courts. If you're enjoying this coverage of Senate confirmation hearings, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss the biggest moments from Capitol Hill.
And I'd respect you a lot more if you stepped up to the plate and said, "This is what I believe."
I might say to the Senator from Louisiana, my goal is to run the committee and not salvation. I believe the judge can speak for herself.
I'm sure well,
Judge Padilla.
let me say this. Thank you for giving me the extra time.
Judge Padilla.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Senator Padilla.
I've been called worse. I do have a question asked the first panel that I intend to ask the second panel, but given the issues and, if I can use air quotes, concerns raised by some of my colleagues, let me try to address the topic at hand. As some of my Republican colleagues have mentioned before,
Kennedy then shifted to the Georgetown Journal of Gender and Sexuality, where the nominee had served as one of its founding members. He referenced several articles published in the journal, including pieces discussing LGBT rights and gender identity. Kennedy asked whether she agreed with arguments presented in those publications, including claims about gender being a social construct. The nominee responded that she served as an articles editor and did not necessarily author or endorse every article selected for publication. She repeatedly said she could not recall the specific articles Kennedy referenced. As his questioning came to an end, Kennedy delivered his strongest criticism. He said he had carefully reviewed the nominee's writings and believed she was not being fully forthcoming with the committee. Kennedy argued he would have respected a direct explanation of her past views more than repeated statements that she could not recall or could not comment. The nominee maintained that, as a judge, her obligation is to remain impartial and decide cases based solely on the law. The exchange became one of the most talked about moments of the confirmation hearing, highlighting disagreements over judicial impartiality, past academic writings, and how nominees should answer questions about issues that could come before the courts. Supporters of Kennedy argued that judicial nominees should clearly explain their previous public positions, while others contend that judges must avoid commenting on matters that may later require impartial decisions. What do you think? Should judicial nominees be expected to defend their past writings during confirmation hearings, or is it appropriate to decline answering questions about issues that could come before the court? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more coverage of Senate hearings, judicial confirmations, and the biggest political moments from Capitol Hill.